Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another tutorial video. The topic for this one is Annihilation, how to reach for the sky and beyond the limits of our current gear. I hope that you have seen my other two older videos, a short guide on Annihilation changes coming with update 2.8 and a longer video with parsing, solo hard mode flashpoints, combat analysis. If you have something that you disagree with or you think can be done differently or advised differently, a new build, or any kinds of suggestions or personal opinions, do share them down below in the comment section. I would be very happy to receive any kinds of constructive criticism as well. It can only help me get better production for the next content on my channel. Let's begin. Being a single target spec with particularly no burst capabilities and very little AoE chance, it really shines in encounters where the Marauder is allowed to stay on one target for longer periods of time. There are no huge giant hitters, but once the burns start working, the spec shows its potential. Typical and easy examples where Annihilation is useful, or probably even most useful, are the Dreadguards, second boss in TFB, the Cartel Warlords, the sixth boss in Common Villainy, Grobthok from the Dread Fortress, and Bestia from the Palace. There are always different options, and depending on the group balance and the other 7 or 15 players in your team, it may sometimes be the case that a different spec is best choice for the Marauder. The gear. First and most important is accuracy. Whatever gear you currently have, try to modify accuracy first and get it to as close to 100% as possible without going over the top. The easiest way to stack accuracy is through enhancements. I would not recommend using tokens from implants and earpieces with accuracy on them because they are a little bit harder to obtain, depending of course on your guild activity and the current raid team action that you have. Don't forget to maximize affection with your tank companion for the extra % free accuracy bonus. I personally currently like to run with about 23% crit chance, which is 140 crit rating. An important note, I still don't have full 186 set, so I am experimenting more or less, and I would like to leave myself a small window for revisions when I get all the remaining gear I still need from Dread Palace Nightmare. But the build seems solid, stable and works fluently. On this screenshot you should be able to see my current stats and what I have. It is needless to say that having the 4 pieces set bonus is a must and will have a big impact on your DPS always. The skills. I'm not going into deep details here as this guide is not about Marauder basics, but rather an attempt to give advice and idea on how to improve our results with the class. So, a very quick and brief overview of the most important skills. Number 1 is of course Annihilate. It is the top tier ability that you can get at level 45. It's expensive on force points, but is also the highest hitting ability. A second one is Deadly Saber. It is a mid tier and is your hardest hitting dot. It stacks up to 3 times and is very useful combined with Berserk. Whenever possible, not always. Which means you should aim to use Berserk when you have 2 stacks from that dot and you're about to put on the third one, because Berserk will give you a 100% crit chance and it will result in a very nice DPS boost. It's often impossible to coordinate that in a complicated and real boss encounter, but it's good to know and a must for parsing versus the dummy. Rupture is the second dot and another one of your most important abilities. Force Charge for Annihilation is a must and should be used on cooldown, unless the boss fight dictates otherwise, meaning if there are specific mechanics that require you to move quick to a new target or something similar. The rest of the main abilities that should be used often, but they are not main priority, are Ravage, to be used whenever you feel best but not on cooldown, Dual Saber, the best filler, and the awesome sub 30% vicious throw, which actually replaces vicious slash. Parsing. While training on the dummy, the stat you need to focus on first, studying your logs, is APM, attacks per minute. This varies a lot between different classes and even inside the same advanced class depending on the spec. For Annihilation, it is recommended to have APM in the range of 46, 47 and even 47.5. I personally have never done a dummy parse beyond 47.5, but I believe 47 is enough. The difference, for example, between the mediocre 44 and a 46 APM is just 2 points, but these 2 points are a huge drawback and a DPS loss. It isn't easy to give specific advice or recommendation personally looking at other people's logs, because it's something that every player needs to adjust to. And one quick tip that I hope would be useful is to play around with the ability action queue window. I personally use it on 0.5 when I'm playing my Marauder and on 0.75 when I'm playing healing class, for example. There is a standard opener for the spec and it works on most bosses in the game as well as on the dummy. It looks like that. After you complete this, you need to monitor the dots, trying not to overlap them, but also keep them all active with minimal downtime. The dots are about 40, or actually higher than 40% of your total damage done. Again, it depends more or less on the boss encounter or if you're training on the dummy. The advanced class 3 skill points that I've spent look like this. This is what 99% of the community is using. It is so because there is no other real alternative at this point. It provides maximum damage output with the required number of utilities for self-heals, crowd control and survivability. If the situation is so extreme and dire, you may want to help the healer by putting 2 points in defensive throw instead of 2 points on malice, but if it comes to this, then the group needs to rethink the healing strategy and positioning for the encounter, because this is a really extreme measure. And in the end, I would like to touch a little bit on the PvP side for Annihilation. I personally play Sentinel, so I'm used to the Watchman, but it's all the same. The difference with gearing here is I go full power and surge, I don't stack crit at all. And it does seem to work for me. The advanced class 3 point that I currently play with is spread around like this, 36, 10, 0. I should note that I haven't played Watchman Annihilation in ranked PvP in Season 2 because it's more or less dead on our server, so at this point I'm not 100% sure if this build would be optimal for ranked, or maybe some adjustments should be done. Here are the little differences in my spec compared to my PvE build. First of all, I'm not putting 2 points on Insight. Instead, I'm building up 2 points on defensive throw because it's PvP and AoE is everywhere. From the Watchman tree specifically, I put 2 points on Inflammation because it gives me nice crowd control and this is always useful in war zones. I'm not using Focused Leap because I find I have more than enough focus for one reason or another. And I'm also still not convinced, I can't convince myself that I should use Force Fade. Everything is up for discussion, and as soon as I see that it stops working for me, of course I'll change it, but this build has been useful to me. This wraps up the video tutorial on Annihilation, and I hope guys that my thoughts and suggestions were useful to you. If you have any more questions, ideas, or you want to share something, use the comments down below, as well as my social accounts. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook as well, and I would be very happy if I have a chance to welcome you to my live Twitch streams. You can find all these links here in the About section on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you next time. Bye bye.